Shalom lekulam. I'm Yaakov, and in this episode, we'll look at the Kiddush Cup and its use during the Kabbalat Shabbat service, which is held each week after sundown on Yom Shishi, or Friday night. Kos Kiddush, the cup of sanctification, also holds significance elsewhere in Jewish religious ceremony. It's drunk at the beginning of the Passover Seder meal and by the bride and groom during the Jewish wedding ceremony, and so on. In one sense, this cup is a river of sanctification that flows through the Jewish community as we sojourn on the earth. Each Kabbalat Shabbat, or welcoming of the Sabbath, the Kiddush Cup and its blessing precede the blessing over and eating of the Chalut, or Sabbath bread. A prayer is pronounced concerning the Sabbath, and then the leader of the ceremony, usually the father of the household, calls those present to join him in the bracha for wine, Borei Pri Hagafen. The chant of calling is as follows: Savrei Maranam Varabanam Varabotai. Hear my expression, rabbis and sages and common people. In our community of Messiah followers, we reply together, we may be common, but we are redeemed. We do this to acknowledge that we have accepted the King Messiah Yeshua and have, past tense, forever, been saved from our sin. This is followed by the bracha, or blessing over wine. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu Melekh haolam, Borei Pri Hagafen. Amen. All blessing comes from you, Lord our God, King of the world, who creates the fruit of the vine. We then wish each other l'chaim, which means to living perpetually, and then we drink in the goodness of God's provision and the reminder that we continue to be sanctified by His grace. We note that the prayer of blessing says, who creates the fruit of the vine. In this, we understand that God is active and continues to participate in and sustain His creation, albeit a sin-affected creation in need of His redemption. Kos Kiddush, the cup of sanctification, is not the cup that Christians call communion. Communion is a practice derived from the Jewish festival of Passover and is established in the third cup of the Jewish Passover, which is called by a different name, Kos Geulah, the cup of redemption. Rav Shaul HaShaleach, or Paul the Sent One, records Yeshua speaking of the third cup of the Passover Seder, saying, "Do this as often as you drink it, in remembrance of me." 1 Corinthians 11:25. Therefore, Messiah-following Jews take Kos Geulah, the cup of redemption, symbolizing the blood of the new covenant, once a year during Pesach, or Passover, because Passover is celebrated as often as once a year. The distinction between these two cups, of Kos Kiddush and Kos Geulah, brings to life a teaching of the New Testament written by a Messiah-following Kohen, or priest, of the 1st century CE. He writes, "Through a single offering, the Messiah has made perfect forever those who are being sanctified." Hebrews 10:14. Therefore, we see in this third cup of Passover, Kos Geulah, the symbol of certain perfection outside of time and space through the blood of Messiah. This has already happened for those who receive Him, because the Scripture says that He has, past tense, made us perfect. And in the weekly cup, Kos Kiddush, the cup of sanctification, we are reminded of our need to be constantly sanctified within time and space, because we continue to live in a sin-affected world until He comes to reveal the fullness of the Olam Haba, the world to come. L'chaim lekulam, b'shem Yeshua Melekh HaMashiach. May you experience living that is perpetual in the name of Yeshua, the King Messiah.